Good morning, Mizzou fans. Gabe DeArmond here, wrapping up the week with you on PM in the AM for Friday, August 22nd. Big news from the Southeastern Conference on Thursday afternoon. They said that they are going to a 9-game league schedule that is beginning with the 2026 football season. Now, that means a few things. First of all, it almost certainly means more money for everybody. I can't imagine the SEC would have done it otherwise. It also means everybody's football schedule, including Missouri's, is about to get tougher. We had an article last night. Missouri has a bunch of non-conference games it has to get out of now. From 2027 to 2031, Missouri already has 4 non-conference games scheduled in each of those seasons. Now, 2027, they're supposed to play at San Diego State. 2029, they're at Northern Illinois. 2030, they're at North Texas. 2031, they're at Florida Atlantic. Those games, they have to come off the schedule. They don't make sense to have scheduled to begin with. Missouri has to get rid of them in 2028. San Diego State's supposed to come to Columbia. That's the one that either that or Northern Illinois, you just buy out of that whole series, I think. You are at Illinois in the 2028 season, but that's fine. The SEC release stated that teams above and beyond the 9-game SEC schedule are going to be required to play at least one more game against a team from the ACC, Big Ten, Big 12, or Notre Dame. So Missouri needs to keep those games with Kansas, with Illinois, with Colorado, because that fulfills that obligation for those years. So what we're basically looking at is 10 Power 4 conference games per year. It's great for fans. I like it. I don't like going to these games that I know what the result is. Like Central Arkansas, it's the first game of the year. I get people are excited about it. It's going to be a terrible football game. The only thing that can happen is bad, and that's if Central Arkansas manages to keep it somewhat close with Missouri, which I don't expect will happen. So I like, more games against good teams, but it is going to get tougher for Missouri. You can't get a 9-game SEC schedule without playing probably 2 or 3 ranked teams at an absolute minimum, and probably one, top 10 type team in any given year. We've talked a lot about the slight break Missouri's gotten in SEC scheduling the last 2 years. That it might still be a little bit easier relative to some of the other teams in the league, but it is going to be one of the 15 or 20 toughest schedules in the country, no matter what, because you're playing 9 teams from the best league in the country. So what will Missouri's schedule look like? Well, 2 or 3 years ago, when they initially started talking about this, the league had schools kind of submit, hey, here are the 3 teams we would like to play every year. This is going to be set up so you have 3 permanent rivals, and then you're playing the other 6 teams the other 12 teams in the league on a rotating basis. 6 one year, 6 the next year. Then those will flip home and away over the next 2 years. So you're playing all 16 teams in the league in a 15 teams in the league in a 2-year span, all 15 home and home in a 4-year span. When Missouri initially submitted the teams it would like to play, this was whenever it became official that Texas and Oklahoma were coming to the league. The teams on Missouri's wish list, and this does not mean this is who they'll get, but the teams on Missouri's wish list were Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Vanderbilt. Now, Arkansas and Oklahoma they're givens. The Arkansas series, that's not going to go away. The SEC, it's geographically, it makes sense. The SEC has been pushing Missouri and Arkansas no matter what either side thinks of it as an actual rivalry. That's going to continue. Missouri, Oklahoma makes a lot of sense. Vanderbilt, I understand why they would be on Missouri's list of desired opponents. No disrespect to Clark Lee, but they're probably on a lot of teams' desired opponents. The one I would like to see is South Carolina. There's 2 reasons for that. First of all, the games between Missouri and South Carolina have been good. There is some animosity, I think, between the programs, especially, Eli Drinkwitz beat South Carolina as the App State head coach, and now he's been here, and he and Shane Beamer don't hesitate to kind of tweak each other a little bit. But the other thing is South Carolina is another team in this league that doesn't really have 3 natural rivalry games, right? I mean, South Carolina's crossover game was Texas A&M. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, like South Carolina and Arkansas, that's not really a big thing. South Carolina and Mississippi State, South Carolina and Florida, like all these other teams have more teams that are natural. Hey, we have to get those games in. Like Tennessee is going to keep playing Alabama, I would assume. They're going to keep playing Georgia, I would assume. And they will probably get, Vanderbilt as an in-state game. Georgia has a rivalry it's not ever going to give up with Auburn. We already mentioned the Tennessee thing, and they've got to play Florida. So a lot of these teams have natural built-in games that the SEC is going to want to protect. Other than Arkansas, Missouri doesn't have any of those games, and South Carolina doesn't really have many of those games. So I think that's a good match. I don't know what it will look like. We'll wait and see. I assume they will announce the 3 permanent rivals. Like, I don't know, a timeline. To me, it makes sense to do it like after the regular season leading up to the SEC championship game or something, just kind of like in one of those little dead news periods to make news. But we'll see when they announce those 3 permanent rivals. Missouri will definitely have Oklahoma, will definitely have Arkansas, and we'll see who the third one will be. And then we'll see when they announce the 2026 schedule, which 6 teams Missouri's getting, how those work out home and away. And then you can kind of just naturally know the other 6 teams are going to be on the schedule the following year. So you're really announcing 2 years of a schedule at the same time. But this is a major shift for the Southeastern Conference. Going to be interesting to see how all the permanent games work out, what the schedules look like, what that does for them in TV contracts, and also in terms of getting into the playoffs, right? Strength of schedule, but overall number of losses. It'll be interesting to see. And I think probably this has a lot to do with the playoff format and what the SEC and Big Ten are going to push for going forward, because the Big Ten wasn't wanting to make any concessions until the SEC went to 9 games. The SEC wasn't wanting to go to 9 games until it got some assurance that, strength of schedule would matter and it would get a certain number of teams in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens with all of that. Thank goodness, finally, though, we can talk about games for a little while. Missouri has Media Day on Saturday. Gerard Hamilton and Connor McClain will be there, have everything for us from that. Game week fully starts then on Monday. All kinds of coverage leading up to Mizzou Central Arkansas on Thursday night at 6:30. Appreciate you joining me here. While you're here, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Go over to Power Mizzou. 50% off an annual subscription. That's only going to continue the first year of an annual subscription. That's only going to continue through Wednesday. Thursday morning, game season starts. Prices are going back up. So get that done in the next 5 or 6 days. Shameless, plea here. We are real near a couple of pretty big subscription milestones, and we'd love it if you could be a part of helping us get there. And in exchange, we'll give you the best coverage you can get of Missouri all season long at Power Mizzou. Thanks for hanging out. Be back another time.